G'day and welcome to another big edition of the MCDFNL Footy Show, looking ahead to round 5. Thanks to Bendigo Bank. We're here at Carisbrook. I'm here with the great man Grant, and we got you back for another round, mates. And we're here on the big ground that where all the excitement is going to be happening this weekend as Carisbrook host Natty Bielba, and what some may be tipping a look at what we might see at the business end of the season.
Doesn't get much bigger than this early in the season. 4-0 both teams. Couldn't be more excited for this one. Going to be a very tough contest, I think, for Natty. Carisbrook are the yardstick of the competition, but I think Natty will embrace that, probably the underdog status at the moment, and they've played some really good contests, Carisbrook and Natty, over the years, so it's going to be an interesting one. And
I guess the upside for the Swans is they come into this game on the back of a really good performance last week, which is what you want heading into a game like this, because even though they've been undefeated this year, it was probably not until last week that they really played a good solid four-quarter performance.
Yeah, that's right. Got their four quarters sorted across that game against Avoca. They've got their injury concerns, no doubt, and I think Emmett Smith went down with a hip injury in that game, so that really robs them of some forward power. He played a really big game on this ground one year, maybe 2016, I think, when Natty got over the line of Carisbrook. But then Carisbrook are also coming off a pretty big win, and they're in really good form. We mentioned earlier in the week with Liam Cunningham and Ash Minari, they're going to be the ones to watch down the forward line. Natty's got some pretty good defenders. Kurt Mortlock's one that's stood up. Braden Mills is in good form. Chopper Jardine missed last week, but he's a veteran of the competition and he knows how to get the job done. In the midfield, you're going to have the likes of Jackson Bowen going up against Lockie Cameron, who's in really good form this year. You've got Natty's Josh Grant going head-to-head with Matt Bilton. I mean, yeah.
The matchups are endless, aren't they?
Get down to this one. I reckon it's going to be a cracker. But take a bold man to go against Carisbrook, and I make no claims to being a bold man. So until Carisbrook give me a reason to go against them, I think Carisbrook are going to get the points this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And I guess I'm really quite impressed with how the Swans have been going as well, considering in the off-season they did lose a few big names as well. So for them, it was a bit of speculation. Will they start to drop down the ladder a bit? No, that's not happening.
No, it hasn't happened. And I think they can, even if it is a loss, if they can get, what would be a good, maybe within 6 goals, 5 goals of Carisbrook, it'd be a pass mark at this time of the season, especially with the injuries they've got at the moment. So, yeah.
Should be an exciting one. Get down here to Carisbrook and check it all out. Another big game to look out for, and this is going to depend on how one of the teams bounce back, but we've got Maldon and Avoca.
Yeah. Interesting one there. Both sort of had iffy sort of starts to the season, and Avoca have lost the last 2 games by over 100 points, so they'll be really keen to bounce back.
But they've been against the top 2 sides.
They have, that's a good point. They are against the 2 top sides, but they'll want to get back into it. Maldon are coming off a pretty good win as well, but against Denali, so that's, you don't know really where these 2 sides are at. But I said earlier in the week, Maldon are yet to be blown out of a game, so I think Maldon might get the points in this one, but Avoca's got more than enough quality, especially in the forward and the midfield, to get across the line. They've just got to get those chances going. Yeah,
exactly. It's going to be really important for them. I'm with you there on the Bombers front. Campbell's Creek and Lexington, we did see Lexington make a statement-defining win last week against the Saints, but Campbell's Creek, it's all about scoreboard pressure for them now.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been slowly getting more blown out. They'll be really wanting just to lock down, but yeah, it's going to be a tough against Lexington. I mean, Lexington really hit their straps last week. They've got a really good midfield at the moment. Steele Cox is leading that way really well. And they had a couple of other players get back into the best players last week. So, yeah, I think Lexington this one pretty comfortably. But, yeah, up to Campbell's Creek to really put the pressure on, and not there was a goal of theirs at the start of the season not to get blown away, and it's what they want to do this weekend.
Yeah, well, they want to rewrite the wrongs of the last month and get back into the firing line there and put on some good scoreboard pressure. Royal Park and Navarre, this is going to be an interesting contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Royal Park and Navarre have got some pretty good history between each other. It was Royal Park who ended Navarre's massive 50-game winning streak back a couple of years ago. Things have changed for both teams since then. I mean, they were both top of the ladder at that stage of that year. They've probably dropped a bit, both of them, admittedly. Navarre sort of fell back after a win against Denali last week. They went down to Talbot. I'd put Talbot probably higher above Royal Park at the moment, and Royal Park got the chocolates over Rovers last week, so it's going to be an interesting one, and I reckon this could probably be maybe the closest game of the round, and I think Navarre maybe might just get this one, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Royal Park on this one here. I'd love to see them continue to improve, and they're a quality side, and Navarre, their best is really good, even with the outs that they've got, but Royal Park heading into the break.
I think Royal Park are a lot like the Tigers in the AFL. Yeah. It's good when they're up and about. They've got a big following and pushy, so it wouldn't harm the competition at all if they got this win over Navarre.
Exactly right. Now another big game, and we've got lots of big games before the Interleague program kicks in. Newstead and the Maryborough Rovers. Good luck picking a tip this one.
Yeah, it's a good round this one for tips. Newstead had the big win last week. Just far too good. Campbell's Creek, am I right? Yeah, far too good for Campbell's Creek. And Rovers. They had 2 wins going in, lost to Royal Park last week, so they'll be keen to bounce back. They should be able to do it, I think. I'll give the tip to Rovers this week.
Yeah, I think the Rovers, they're almost like the Richmond side. Their best is very, very good. And they've got the talent there in the team. It surprises me that they haven't performed a lot better over the last couple of seasons.
Newstead's got quite a young team as well, so their form might flow in and out from week to week. And so probably Rovers with a few older bodies, they should be able to get the job done.
So if Newstead get up, it'll be a really good win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Those young boys would really like to get the better of Rovers. They've got some older heads like Scotty Sellers, who was in the best players, Bryce Fletcher. So if Newstead can get on top, it would really sort of kick them off after the interleague break for the rest of the year.
Talbot and Denali. Talbot, just one of the smokies to as we spoke about earlier, playing top 4 footy, and this is a big opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll be really wanting to sort of get their percentage up and going. They want to be a top 4 side, and at the moment those 3-4 positions are up for grabs. And second could even be up for grabs if Natty or Carisbrook go down this weekend and lose some percentage points. So Talbot will just want to tick this box, get a big win over Denali, head into the interleague break, right up the top of the ladder.
What sort of positives do you think Denali will need to sort of work on to take out of this contest?
They did the right things against Maldon last week, and they sort of locked down that scoring in the first half, even across the first 3 quarters. If they can stop the opposition from scoring, maybe just chip away 1-2 goals a quarter, not get blown out across any of the quarters. Last quarter, they conceded heavily. Mm-hmm. If they can just sort of maintain a margin each quarter, I think that's all they can hope for at the moment. It's just sort of keep the team controlled. If they can put in a competitive 4-quarter effort, when they come up against the lower sides that they're bound to come up against, it could be enough to get a win. So that 4-quarter effort is what they want to build at the moment.
Well, fingers crossed the Eagles can fly high in that department there. In the final game, there are lots of quality games this weekend, and it rubber stamps with this one: Trentham and Harcourt. Another tough one.
I wouldn't like to. I'm glad my tips don't get recorded anyway. Trentham and Harcourt. So Trentham dropped a game last week, probably in a bit of shock circumstances as well, and Harcourt came up against Carisbrook. So I'd probably give it to Harcourt at the moment. I don't think you can read too much into a game against Carisbrook like that. Carisbrook they seem to be too good at the moment. Harcourt should be able to bounce back, but Trentham equally also looking to bounce back. So a really interesting sort of dynamic there with both teams sort of coming back from losses, and they're both right up there at the top of the ladder. And again, this interleague break, you want to be up there. It gives you a bit of motivation to get into training over the break and stuff to make sure you put in the yards, hard yards early, because it's going to pay off at the end of the season. All these early games, they'll all mean something at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely right, mate. I'm going to jump on the Saints bandwagon to get on that one there. And I know Interleague's just around the corner, mate. I know there's a lot of excitement sort of going about the big long trip to Garfield and against West Gippsland too. West Gippsland, when they played the RDFNL last year, they come up to Macedon and got rolled by about 50-odd points. But there's a good feeling amongst the playing group within the MCDFNL Senior footballers that they could register another big win here.
Pretty good buy-in from the clubs with the 53-man team that's been put out at the moment. I know that there's chances to be added to that yet over the next couple of training sessions. And they've proven that travel doesn't worry the MCDFNL. They went down the Warrnambool last year and got a really good win. And they've got some pretty good blokes in charge, the likes of Clayton Scoble and Shane Robertson as well. And Brendan Trainer. You don't get much more footy experience than that. So if things do go wrong when they're away, that the coaches are going to be able to correct the course. And yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that final MCDFNL side comes together. And you only need like a handful of the top team to get alongside some other really good players from the other clubs, and then you've got a really good team going. So yeah, fingers crossed for the MCDFNL to get a win. Keep climbing up that ranking.
No, absolutely, mate. We'll be watching with that one with great interest as next week sort of unfolds, mate. Thanks so much for joining us on as the ratings soar up again with your presence on board, and we hope that we see a bit of a cracker here at Carisbrook between the Redbacks and the Swans. We look forward to catching up with you soon.
Looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer than it is right now.
Thanks, mate.
See ya.